Hey everyone, welcome to live session number 4 of the Community Connections workshop. So hopefully you've been following along with this amazing series, and we are now, or we will be by the end of this live, a third of the way through this extensive workshop that is focused on communities, how to use communities, build them, do everything that you possibly can with a thriving community and looking at how you could do it within the Zenler platform itself. So today I'm going to be running the training today. So I've got David with me. He's here. He's going to be looking after you all in the chat. So you'll see him first on Facebook, and then you'll get an email within an hour to be able to come and join us live on Zoom. So get ready, get settled in because it's going to be a really, really good session. Today is all about public communities. So let me just give you a little bit of a recap as to what we've been up to because this is important. So 1 second, just get my right page up. Here we go. So this is where we are. If you've not yet subscribed to the funnel, go and subscribe to the funnel. The link is in the first pinned comment. The reason you want to come to the funnel is firstly, Facebook will delete this live after 30 days. So it will be gone from here. You can't come back here and watch it after 30 days. Secondly, it's a great place where we're going to put all of the lives all together in one place for you. It's all on one page, so you can just go down at your leisure. And any assets that we give you during that particular live, as we tend to do on some of them, you'll get access to that as well. So it's a really good place for you to be. Once you've committed to the funnel, then of course there's no charge. We never charge for these things. What will happen is you'll get it when you log into the tutorial site. You'll be able to easily access it afterwards. So it's a really great thing to be able to go and subscribe to these. Now, we're not going to hound you with loads of thousands of emails or anything like that, but we will email you twice on each day of the live session. So the first one will be reminding you we've got an hour to go, and then we're going to be live on Facebook. Come and watch us on Facebook. That's the only option right now. And then an hour in, so at 3 p.m. BST, you'll get an email saying, come and join us on Zoom. And then you can come in for the Q&A, which is a really important part. So you can jump on camera with us and ask questions regarding anything on that workshop or that's predated that workshop. So anything that's going to be in a future one, we'll just hold that until we get to that particular session. So this is a 4-week session. So we've got 12 live sessions. So we've got loads going on. We've already done 3. So we've done the introduction to the communities for course creators. That was last Monday. We did community planning last Wednesday. Rakesh was on last week talking about the actual feature within Zenler, the community feature, what's going on there, what's coming up, what's just been released. And there's been some amazing new chat releases in there. So live chat feature, it should now be live for you all. And what's coming up there. And there's a lot of really cool stuff in the pipeline here. Today we're looking at public community, so we're going to delve into the whole concept and the idea behind a public community, why we're going to do it, what's involved in it. We're going to do a quick live build on it as well, and just to show you how to build it in the system itself, and then we're going to take questions at the end. On Wednesday, we've got private communities with David. He's going to be looking at the specifics behind having a private community and everything involved with that, and he'll do a build on that as well. And then we've got live number 6 on Friday with Mamie, who will be looking at a secret community and what's involved with a secret community. Then into next week, we're looking at community leadership, community engagement, monetizing your community. So 3 really big sessions there that are really, really important because the build is just a part of having a successful community. You need all of these things as well. You need to know how to lead it. You need to know how to keep positive engagement going on within your community, and you need to know and have a strategy behind how do you make money through your community. And then the following week, which will be the last week, that will be, so it's 2 weeks today. We're doing Grow Your Community, which I'll be taking the lead on that particular session. Then we've got advanced features, advanced tricks within a community, as in the community. What can you do when there isn't an actual button for it in the community area? So David's going to show us some cool little tricks there. And then we're going to look at a live Q&A to wrap the whole thing up. So on that Friday, so that'll be 2 weeks on Friday, Any questions you've got, go in communities, how you do them, what you do with them. Maybe you've got some examples of situations that have cropped up, and you want to talk about it. Then that's going to be the one to ask on those. So we'll do a little bit of a roundup on session 12, and then we'll do a whole team Q&A with you all. So that one will be quite cool. I'm looking forward to that one. But today, let's get focused. We're talking today about public communities. That's a thing then. Right. I've got a little slide share screen here for you. So let's have a look at what we've got going on. So I'm going to turn my camera off for a moment. I might pop in and pop out. Not sure yet, but here we go. So building a thriving public community on Zenler. Of course, as we've relaunched the community feature on Zenler, it's a really fantastic place to be now. If you're fed up with Facebook, if you've got clients saying, I don't like Facebook, I don't want to go on there, and all of those things, and your only choice to now has been to build it on Facebook. Well, now you've got another choice, and you've got a choice to build it on the Zenler platform. But we're also looking at public communities here. So getting found on Google through your Zenler community while building a stronger audience base. Now, this can't be done in Facebook because Facebook, it may be public, but it's public in Facebook. It will not get indexed. So this is a massive one. This is a really, really big idea behind this on using a public community to drive more SEO, more engagement, more views on your business. And there's other things that are associated with that you'll get as a byproduct of building this community. And we'll talk about that in a little bit. So here we go. If it will let me move my screen. Hang on 1 second. Right, just got to stop sharing my screen for a minute because my slideshow has frozen. Let me just reload it. All the best laid plans, eh? Here we go. Right, I'm back. Share my screen again. Here we go. Right. What are we going to be covering today? So we're going to be looking at the purpose, the audience, and some of the topics that you can put so you can pre-plan for your launching your community and what's going to be happening. We're going to look at creating and launching the community, so the steps that are involved in this, certainly within the platform itself. We're going to look at growing your visibility via using a public platform on the Zenler, a public community on the Zenler platform. So Google indexing, and that then lends itself towards a bit of a content strategy. You need an idea of what you're going to be doing because it is going to be visible outside of your environment. And then maintaining some of that energy, keeping the engagement going and keeping the momentum going. So what is a public community on Zenler? Now we have covered what a public community is, but I'm going to remind you. So they're only viewable, search engine accessible. So Google will index your posts, and it does this automatically, assuming you've got your sitemaps set up on your. If you've not yet done that, we'll cover that maybe in Q&A if that's something you're going. How do I check? What is it? I don't know what that is. But ultimately, it's a community building tool that will showcase expertise to potential students. It will get people noticing you further than your own inner circle is right now. So the hidden gem advantage. So you get to people get to preview some value, so you can show your expertise before people get involved, before they decide to purchase. It could be something that you use as part of your funnel. So if you're looking to sell more courses, that are paid courses or paid, anything that you do via your Zenler site, it's a great way of showing a different way of showing high value for people that are on the fence, don't really know you very well, or anything like that. We've got SEO visibility, so your content, as I said, does appear in Google searches. So each of your posts has its own link. That link then gets indexed, and you might want to give it a bit of a nudge to index it to begin with, but ultimately it will get found. And what that will do is it will drive more organic traffic. It becomes more discoverable. And this is something that you want. You need a constant flow of new people finding you. And we do this. I mean, there's lots of ways of doing it. You know, we talk about blog posts, we talk about running YouTube channels, social media, all these sorts of things. But having an open community where people can find it, go and have a look, see if they like you. There's a very little commitment at that point is a really great way for people to start to understand what you're about and if you're for them or not. So we start with a purpose. So we define clear community goals. We did a little bit of this on session 2, looking at our goals for a community. You know, what type of community are we going to be doing? So support, lead generation, whatever it might be. A lot of the time, your goal for a public community, a lot of the time, will be lead generation. It will be ideally to get people in that might be interested at some point in what you offer, certainly what you talk about. So select relevant topic, what connects to your courses. So think about what courses you offer and then think about what associated conversations could be had around those. You need to identify your target audience. We talk about this all of the time. ICAs, ideal client avatars, all of that type of thing. I'm going to rename that because it's such an overused phrase these days, but understanding the people who need what you offer. Now, that could be in a free setting, it could be in a paid setting. We talk about lead magnets, we've talked about there's a lot recently, but ultimately, these are people that they have to have some form of need, interest, or skill within what you do. And that will help you identify that target audience. And then it helps you extend your teaching approach. So it allows you to maintain a consistent voice and style. So that goes through your courses, it goes through all of your branding, it goes through everything that you do. It moves that through and it all connects up properly. And we see this a lot, and it's one of the things that we're quite hot on at Zenler is making sure there's a consistency out there, whether it's the way that we approach our workshops or whether it's the way that we put socials out or whatever it is that we do. And that's really important because that consistency breeds reliability and trust, and therefore people are more likely to be involved with what you offer. So Google indexing simplified. So public posts function as mini blog posts. I think Rakesh actually coined that phrase when he launched this on the day with Zenler. These are the new mini blogs. Micro blogging has been around for a long time. These are posts that are 50 to 80 words or something like that. Do they work particularly well in the setting of a blogging area? No, not really. Do they work particularly well in the setting of putting it into a community where there probably is going to be quite a few comments on it? It will work much better, that's for sure. So each creates a unique page for the search engine. So each time there's a public post there's a post that goes into your public community, then it will create a link for that. You can actually click the 3 dots and get link for that post. I did it earlier, and it works really, really well. And therefore, they're in their own right, they sort of stand alone and they can be found by Google, or I say Google, it's the search engines. There's others, not just Google. So Google will come along and it will crawl and rank your content. So based on relevance to search queries. So, and we need to understand a little bit about this, not because we want to over optimize anything that we do, but if we have a core understanding of what people look for, it will help us sort of guide some of the topic ideas that we do. So it's actually something we're going to come into in a little minute and we'll delve a bit further into that. We've done keyword research stuff before. It was a long time ago, but it's certainly something that you need to have some level of understanding of if you don't just want to guess. So more content means more discovery chances. So each post is another opportunity for your site to get ranked in the search engines, and all of those 3 things are absolutely true. So no SEO expertise required. So just think about it like this. When we talk about SEO and we look at algorithm changes, and I hear all the time people are chasing the algorithm and they're chasing the next update and they're looking at all of these things, and it makes my head want to blow up, to be honest. because the majority of the time, and this goes for lots of things that we do specifically online, if we sort of follow these three things, you're going to naturally flow into creating stuff that's SEO worthy, that's indexable, that's findable, right? And this is based on having done this for more years than I care to remember. And I've seen people chase the algorithm, stuff the keywords, and do all of the unnatural language stuff, and it doesn't work. We talk about understanding keywords and key phrases because what happens is we can actually use them. Often they're alternatives to words we say anyway, but they're sort of naturally fitting words. And I think that's really the key to why you need to understand what your keywords and key phrases are. Rather than using one that you may use in your industry, if you use the same word that someone was searching for but wasn't actually an official word for it, that's going to help you, right? So that's sort of how that works. So you don't need to be an SEO expert to make this work for you, certainly not in the community area for Zenler. So you need to focus on helpful conversations. So natural language works best, right? I think that's a sort of a given. If you're sitting there having a conversation with someone who's interested in your business, you don't start throwing keywords into the conversation. You just don't do that. You just have a natural backwards and forwards, a rapport, and it builds from there. Share valuable insights. So this is talking about addressing real concerns and issues or problems that your audience may have. So it is understanding. You do need to understand why you solve, what issues you solve that people are looking for help with, and that is important. And then engaging authentically, and authentic has been overused so much recently, but the essence behind it is very real. So be yourself, not an algorithm. And it is very much about putting you out there, warts and all, using your local language, the way that you talk normally, putting in, if you're a sarcastic person, put your sarcasm in. If you're a funny person, put your funny in, and not diluting down who and what you are. And what that does, especially in a community setting, is it really helps people to understand and go, right, I really like the way that you are. It's very comfortable. It feels natural. It feels very flowing, against something that feels very sterile or very unengaged or just a little bit fake. So engaging, being yourself and not an algorithm is a really important one. So these three are absolutely critical to understand and embrace to the full. If you do nothing else but remember those three today, then that's a big win, because that's going to help you a lot. So some effective content types you can put into a public community. So FAQ answers, so addressing common questions that come in. This is an easy one to do. We talk about doing a lot of this stuff within blogging, but it sort of fits within a community setting as well. So FAQs, so if you've got people coming in and asking you questions, or they've asked you before, maybe you're running in-person stuff, or you're running Zoom classes or stuff like that in a private setting, and people are asking you questions, then this is a great opportunity for you to answer those. And it may well be that people are searching those questions online anyway, in which case you may well be found for that. Quick tips, they're always a great one. So share actionable advice from your courses. So you might pull little bits out from your course that is you can cite and expand upon a little bit, just to give someone a quick win, something quick and useful and helpful. You can create short educational content. We do this here a lot at Zenler. So we do the Zen pop-ups and things like that, where they're little short pieces of information that really help people out, and they can be really helpful. We used to do the micro workshops as well, which were like an hour or two long. So they're short pieces, believe it or not, but they were really helpful because they were focused on one thing and gave quite a depth of information to people. And content summaries. So repurpose things like podcasts, webinars, or blog posts, where you can do a summary of it, maybe link it through to where your blog post or your webinar is, or where your podcasts are, and it then creates that whole navigation stream is one of the things that you're looking for. So really good use of your platform for that. We need to, of course, encourage people to get involved. So how can we do that? So in a public community, we have to be a little bit careful as to what we ask for people in a public community, especially if you're in some form of coaching setting or you're in something that can be deemed maybe a little sensitive. But for the majority of people, if you're teaching art or you're a dog trainer or you're a fitness coach or something like that, you can ask questions in there that might, will spark discussion. There must be things, all I've got to do is go into the Zenler Teams chat and say, David, I love lead magnets, and suddenly we're having a backwards and forwards. It sparks a discussion, right? Because David's not a fan of them. Pop-ups, not lead magnets, pop-ups. Um, and we have that backwards and forwards because I know it's going to spark a conversation, right? And you can do the same in your industry. You must know things that, so for example, if you're a dog trainer, you could go in there and ask how many people have thought about using a prong collar, right? Now, for the majority, I would say, of dog trainers, that's an absolute no. They wouldn't dream of using it because they're non-aggressive training techniques. So reward-based training, not punishment-based. So that would create a discussion going on in there. It's a really easy one. If they're seen publicly saying, I dislike prong collars and putting their hand up, they're not going to feel embarrassed by that. They're going to feel okay with that. And by the same token, I've seen publicly people say, I think prong collars are the best thing in the world, and they stand by their decision. I've seen dog trainers say it. Not a dog trainer for me, but that's part and parcel of the whole marketing thing, right? Nurture new discussions. So keeping content fresh and flowing is something that we can encourage our members to do. So get some ideas there. Recognize active contributors. So highlight valuable member insights. Or, obviously when people are coming through, and it sort of leads on to responding thoughtfully. When people are putting things up, threads up and stuff like that, you need to be going back in there and commenting and replying. And if people have took the time and trouble to comment on one of your messages within your community, go back and answer them. You'll learn techniques on how to start to shut down a conversation as you develop running your community, but in a polite way. It doesn't just mean you've got to turn off comments on it. There's other ways of doing that and getting it to fruition quicker if it's a really hot topic. So responding thoughtfully and adding depth to the conversations, which is all things that we want to encourage our members to do. So setting up your Zenler community, I've got a little video I'm going to be showing you in a moment. It's not quite here yet, but it will be in a moment. So access community, this just goes through a couple of the things that you need to do. And this here for reference more than anything. So accessing the community is in your dashboard, click create community, choose a clear topic, focus name, set access to public. I'm going to show you all of this in a little minute. Write a keyword rich description. You can do a sub headline. Design an attractive banner. We want a nice looking banner. Really easy to do. We give you the dimensions. I'll put it on the video as well for you so you can remember what those are. Write a welcome message. Really, really great idea, along with putting your rules up. So first couple of posts really should be those. And then organize your initial categories or communities. So let's watch this. Let's take a quick look. We're going to have a quick sit down for a minute, watch how the community setup works. This is me doing this live. When I recorded it, it literally, I was struggling to make it last more than 5 minutes. It's about 6 minutes. It's that fast. And it will show you every step of the process, exactly how to set up a public community. It's really easy. Take a note of just how quick and clean and interactive it is. It's really important that you understand that this is not something scary. This is something you can easily add in. Now, I've done it unusually for me on a fitness site, a fitness community, because I wanted to explain how categories and communities work. So for me, it was the easiest way to explain that. So David, if you've got the video ready, that would be great. I'll stop sharing my screen. So here we go. We're going to create a community now, and then we'll carry on with the presentation. So I'm in my dummy site. I'm just logged in, so I'm nowhere special, just logged in as normal. I'm going to go along the top here and click community. Now you may see something different to me when you come in. It'll probably say create your first community. I've already messed around in here, so we've already got ones in here that we're going to do. So At the moment, all I've got is a course discussion. We've talked about that. So I've got a course with an active course discussion in it, which is why it's showing up here. So I want to just go to my settings, double check that everything in here is correct. So I've got, this is going to be a fitness community. So my site title will be fitness community, and everything I do in here will be regarding that. I've set site access to public on this particular category because I want it publicly available for everybody. So remember, always set this to public, don't set this to private. That then means when you try and create public communities, you're going to have trouble. You're going to have to come back and reset. So just always leave that to public. That doesn't mean it's publicly available. It just means that category is how we need to set it. Manage members. Do I want to require member approval? No. I can add membership. If I do want to, I can add membership questions in here if I want. It's completely up to you. But for the purposes of this, I'm not going to do that. Do I want to add a logo? Yes, I've uploaded a logo. So as you can see, it's 300 by 300 and it comes up here. So that's the logo up there that I've got. I've picked in my branding color, so I can change this as and how I want. So I can use, if you just click here, you can set it and do your hex code in there and pick a branding color if you wish. And then if I want to hide the member directory, I can hide it now. I don't want to do that. So that's my settings all set up, which is all great. Now, let's get back into where I want to be. So I want to create my first category. So this will be fitness at home. No subtitle. No, let's put a subtitle in. Easy. Right, that's my title. So I've set my category up. I now need to add my community. I'm going to put two communities in here. So my first community will be, I'm going to change the icon. So I'm going to put this one here. So the name will be Fitness 50s. So it's in my category Fitness at Home. I want it as public access. So this will be visible to everybody everywhere. So, and that's what we're focusing on in this particular workshop. So public access, invite, only admins can invite. I don't want that. I want anybody in the community to be able to invite people. So I want this as busy as I can get it. So I don't want to put those types of restrictions in for people. Now, manage the discussion. Anyone can post in the community. That's absolutely fine. I don't want to only have admins posting. I don't want, in this one, people that are not admins to not be able to comment. I want them to be able to comment. So I'm leaving those two unchecked. And do we require post approval? So post by member must be approved by an admin. So I'm going to put that on for now, so I can see how it goes and make sure it doesn't go absolutely crazy. So I'm going to click continue, and you can see fitness for the over 50s. If you mess up, you can always go back and edit the community here. But for now, I just want to add my cover photo, which I've done here. Click that, click open, click add photo. Now this does take a few seconds. I'm impatient, so it doesn't often come in as quick as I want it to. So I click off and then come back, but it will come in. Just give it 30 seconds or so and it will load in. And we should see that come in any minute now. There we go. So cover image has been added successfully. Okay. So 1920 by 600 for the cover image, 300 by 300 for the logo. Okay. And now that community is ready to go. So we have a category, which is here. So the category doesn't really do very much. But within the category, you have your communities. So if I wanted to add my second one, so I want to create another community, I would have fitness for eating. Same deal, public access. Anyone can invite, anyone can post, but I want approval on. Again, add my cover photo, open, add my photo, and that will take a few minutes to load in. So the question keeps coming up about categories and communities. So your communities live within a category, okay? So I'm giving you a really clear example of how you can have two different communities within one category. So fitness at home, you've got fitness for the over 50s, fitness for 18 to 50s. So we've defined them by age on here. And that's why the two different ones work, because people that are over 50 will need very, very different advice and have different conversations than those that are 25, for example. So next thing you need to do is to go in and write your first post, and just add a title, write something in there. This will probably be your group rules, and once you've done that, you'll have these pre-written, and you will add that, and then you'll add them as featured. Okay, and once you've posted it, you'll add it as featured. But that's how you set up your public community correctly and make sure that you're going through so having a successful communities within your Zenler sites. Right, let's get back to the presentation. So you see how easy that was. And that was done within 2 or 3 minutes, really, really straightforward. So I don't want anybody to be worried about setting these up. If you set a community up and you go, oh no, I don't like it, you can really easily just delete it again, right? It's not a problem. You are limited to 20 communities, but we've said right from the get-go, that's going to be way too many for most people. So just the planning is really crucial. Start with one and get going. So I'm going to go back to our presentation and let's carry on. So you've seen the setup process. That's my fitness logo. I love it. Okay, just turn me off. So before you launch, create 3 to 5 starter posts. So what you don't want to do is go, here's my community, it's really awesome, blah, blah, blah. It's all public and you can all come along, and someone comes in and goes, actually, there's nothing now. So you do need to put your rules in. You do need to do your welcome post, but you need 3 to 5 starter posts as well to get going, right? You need something in there. So show the commutes. This allows people to start to see what the value is by being in a free public community, right? It's really easy to do. It's really easy to plan your first month's topic. You can use ChatGPT if you wish to give you some ideas. If you're really struggling, you can even give it an idea of what your course is and ask it to create some questions around it or anything like that. You know, AI is really good at giving you ideas. So if you're struggling to think, oh, what am I going to post apart from welcome, then that's maybe where you could start. So an effective launch strategy. So when you're ready to go, you can do a couple of things. So you can send emails out to your list, and I'll say emails. So it's not just one, because one might not get noticed, but send out a couple of emails, just let people know your community's coming. You can even send one out before you launch your community, just to warm them up, to say, look, this is going to be happening. Look out, in a couple of emails, I'm going to send you the link to join my free community. You have to explain why they want to join it, right? What's in it for them? And if you can't do that, then you need to go back to session one and understand what it is that you're doing and why you've created this community. Because if your purpose behind it isn't clear, then, and it might change, but you're going to struggle. And I think Zenler's a good example of that, where Zenler, in its early day, I wasn't here right at the beginning with Zenler, but you know, often what happens is companies will set up a community because they want to put people in it. What the community has turned into, and the benefit of people joining the Facebook community that we've got here at Zenler is that you have direct access to the education team, and it's a hive of support and information regarding how to use this platform, as well as, and there's additional benefits, getting an understanding of what's coming up, getting to join workshops like this. So there's additional stuff under that education banner. But that's the purpose of the Facebook community for Zenler, right? It's an educational area where we help and support the members of Zenler to get the most from that platform. That's it. If you want to give it a tagline, that sort of covers most of it. But when you're ready to launch it and you're ready to take people in, then you send out your direct links via email. You could do social media campaigns. We know if you've got a big presence on social media or people are following what you're doing, then you can create specific announcements for different, maybe even different communities within different platforms. If that's how you roll, then do it how you want. Just be aware of the different sizing for the different platforms and make sure that it fits the platform correctly. You can share a preview of initial content, so take some screenshots of your community in action, maybe a little video, a 5-second reel or something like that, and that works really, really well. You can also pin posts onto your profile. So in Facebook, for example, you can pin a post at the top, and that could be what people see when they first come in, so they know it's important. We've got the featured areas on different places as well. They all work slightly differently, the different platforms. So understand the platform and get it in the most visible place possible, and keep it there until such times as it started to slow down being useful. Then remove it and then put it back a little while later. So just putting something and leaving it there for infinity isn't always the best idea. So add community links in your course material. So if you're giving away a free course, you're giving away, so maybe you're giving them a taste of one of the first lesson within a course, you can do that in Zenler. Then maybe within that, add in after the first lesson that they've still got free access to, by the way, come and join my free community, because they might not be ready to buy the rest of the course yet, but they might want to just still carry that interaction going on. So it becomes an additional resource that you can offer, another way of nurturing people through a slightly different funnel, possibly, that can really help you. And then highlight exclusive insights that could be available within your community. Invite early adopters. We had this conversation last week where people were saying, I know a few people that have really engaged with what I do. You can make a personal invite to people and just say, look, I'm about to launch this community. Will you just help me? If I put some posts up over the next few weeks, can you just make sure you jump in and leave us a comment or ask a question or give it a like or stick a GIF in or an emoji or whatever, just to get a little bit of traction going. People have been doing this for years and years and years. There's people that do it professionally on webinars where they'll come in and start stoking the conversations going on webinars. I think if you do it in the right way with students and people that you work with that have already gone through a lot of your stuff, it's a really genuine way of doing it, and it can work really, really well. They feel really special as well because they're involved at the ground level and they're helping you out. So if you've helped them and genuinely given them something of worth and value, they'll want to help you back for a few weeks. You can create a content calendar. This is really common in the blogging world, to create a content calendar, and this can last for as long as you want it to last. But if you sort of work out what you're going to do on a weekly basis, that can help you out a lot. Now, that doesn't mean that you've got to be there Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. What it does mean is that you do need to be there regularly, and you need to be constantly stoking the fire of things going on. Certainly in the early days, it's going to be on you. If you talk to Rakesh, he was often up at midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning, asking and answering stuff in the Facebook group when it was just him. So it is important that you structure it so you can manage it and that you can commit to doing it in the early months, just so you can get on. But you can add monthly ones in as well. It doesn't have to just be every Monday this, every Wednesday that. It could be the first Friday of the month this, or whatever. You can plan it as to what suits you and your timetable rather than what you think is expected. and you'll set that expectation. But once you set it, people will expect it. You know, we do weekly office hours. All I'll guarantee you is it's going to happen every week. We used to have a set day, and then we took it off and said, right, we're just going to do it on a day. And that works really well because it gives us flexibility. We capture people on different days at different times, and that works great. So think about a content planning calendar that will help you out. You can get into a weekly posting with them. So it's 3 to 5 posts, but you need, as I say, it needs to be managed well for you, and you've got to be able to manage it. If people are asking questions in there, set yourself a time that you're going to be responding by. Don't leave it 3, 4, 5, 6 days a week, 2 weeks or whatever, because the likelihood is someone else will answer it, which is great, but sometimes you want to answer it as the owner of the community, and you know they want to hear back from you. They want to know they've got your attention. So make sure you set a reasonable time and maybe say, right, 9 o'clock in the morning, I'm just going to spend 10 minutes in the Zenler app, just go through, is there anything coming that I need to reply to? Yes or no. Do it on your commute to the office or while the kettle's boiling or whatever. Just set that little habit, and then if there's nothing, there's nothing. But if there is stuff to answer, it means you won't miss it. And that can be part of your 15-minute daily check-in, just to make sure everything's all good, nobody's spamming your group, and everyone's behaving themselves, and all is good in the world. So you can create discussion prompts. So these are things that will spark conversation. You can ask about challenges. So what's your biggest struggle with? What's not going well for you? What do you need help with? That type of thing. You can ask people to share techniques that helped. So request tips and things like that. And you can run polls. You can ask people questions. We've not quite got a poll functionality in yet. It's on the plan to do properly, but you can still ask questions and run polls in there. You know, just put it down as a list. As in, what would you prefer? A, this, B, this, C, this. It still works. You know, you just have to be adaptable in your thinking within the platform. So content that ranks well. So within your community, things that will come up that we know in the search engines will rank quite well. So problem solving posts, so direct answers to common questions. So if you start putting posts up like that, maybe that could be one of your weekly ones. That will be really well, because when people are often looking for solutions in the search engines, they behave differently in search to how they behave on social media. So just bear that in mind if you want that type of traffic, which is buyer intent type traffic, and coming into your community, then these types of posts are really going to help you. Processes that people can follow, people really like that, so that works really well. Definitive explanations, so thorough coverage of specific topics. So if you're looking to explain something, that comes again, it creates that high value content that the search engines really thrive and look for. They really rate that highly. And then curated and helpful links or tools within your industry. So if you're a dog trainer and you've got specific suppliers for specific things, you know, or dog food suppliers for dogs with certain allergies or things like that, them type of things can be really useful as well. You can repurpose, of course, your existing content through your community, your public community. So you've written a blog post. You can use this to go off and summarize what your blog post is about, put that into your community and go, look, here's a link back to the full article. So if you want to go and read the full thing, this is where it is. That's really, really useful. Same we can do with podcast episodes. So a podcast summary. AI is really good at summarizing things like this. So you haven't got to do it yourself. Just throw it in there, let it summarize it for you with some of the key takeaways, and then you can ask follow-up questions within your community. And of course, a link to the podcast. And then you can share sample lessons or ideas, providing value while prompting and promoting your courses. So 3 really good ideas that you can put in there that the search engines are going to lap up and really, really like. And it's great content as well for your community. So, of course, as this is public and it's indexable, we want to be showcasing member success. We do this really well in Zenler. If someone gets a win, we let people live stream in there. We've let people put videos in there. We've interviewed people. Showing what you do works is really powerful. If you can do it in a video format, that's great. But if you can't, it doesn't matter. We can still do it in a community. But you could encourage people to upload videos that they've recorded of themselves into the community area. We can do that now, direct upload, and that gets indexed as well. So one of the ways of doing this really, really nicely is by just, if you've got some of your founders in, they've gone through your stuff, and you say, look, would you just mind doing me a little video testimonial? Maybe here's a little bit of an idea as to how you could structure it, and just give them a bit of guidance. If you don't tell people, they'll go off and do their own thing, and that might not always be the most useful thing for what you're looking for. But if you sort of give them a little bit of a bullet pointed, could you just cover this, this, and this? That'd be great. And just give us your honest experience, then it's going to work really, really well. So you get to highlight your wins, you can show transformation stories, and you can get testimonials. And all of those three things running through a public community, you're just going to draw more people into it, going, well, they're doing really well. That's going really well for them. Oh, they're bigging that firm up. What's going on now? They get curious, and then they want to get more and more involved. So it is a massive part of the public community. When you do it in a private or a secret community, it's different, because that's more about getting people that's on the buying line to convert over. When you do it in a public community, it's about just getting them to notice you exist, right? Why is that person bigging them up? Why are they saying that great thing? They've done a search for something, and a transformation story comes up, or a testimonial comes up via your community link, and then they start to get interested, right? They've got nothing to lose by joining that community and going, let's have a bit of a nose around. Let's see why this is so good. Why is that person so happy being there? And that's when you start to get people at the very starting point of their experience with you. So encouraging meaningful interaction, start simple, easy to answer questions, build conversation, follow-up questions to deepen that engagement. So if someone posts something in there, ask them a question back. If you post a question up, they reply, ask a question back, that type of thing. Only, of course, if it's relevant, but don't be lazy in your interactions. The more that you can get interacting, the better it's going to be for you. Connect members. So, you might want to tag two people together if someone's looking for an accountability buddy, or someone that's been through something or whatever. We see this happening in the Facebook group with Zenler. Often certain members will be tagged if we know they've got an expertise that might be able to be helpful. And a lot of members will do that for other members, and look to facilitate that type of collaboration. So you've got to really start to foster this whole community mindset of getting members to help members. When you do that and you get more engagement going through your public community, then the stronger it's going to be for the search engines to be able to come and find it. So cross-promotion strategy for your public community. So blogs to community, so you can link to relevant discussions. So if you're writing a blog post and you're talking about trading a specific breed of dog, and you've got a couple of really good topics going on in your community about that particular breed, then you might want to link from your blog post to that community post. Remember, they've all got their own URLs, so it's really easy to link over. You can just highlight the word that you want, go and have a look at this discussion here, and then put the link on top of it, so it's not the actual link itself. Community to products, so showcase the value with course previews. So we've talked about maybe having a free lesson or free module within your course. That's a really great way of going from one place to the other place. Courses to community, so yes, we've got discussions in courses which discuss that particular lesson that you're talking about, but you might want to actually add them into a community as well that covers the whole thing. And then video to community, so taking people from a video, so continue conversations from video into a community. So if you're doing a live Zoom, you're doing maybe a workshop, and the Q&A has been going on for a long time, and people just want to keep asking you stuff. Look, let's carry this. I've got to go now, but let's carry this conversation on in my community. Here's the link, right? And that takes people naturally into that. So if you're doing that type of thing on a regular basis, that could be a really great way of generating people into your public community. And remember, your public community is for pretty much anyone that's willing to get involved, that has maybe at some point the need or desire to get your sort of guidance or help. So we don't care at this point who's coming in, as long as they're in, they're following the rules and they're behaving themselves. That's it. That's as much vetting as you really need to do on a public community. We know within the Zenler community, we've got people from other LMS systems in there. We know we've got people that come onto our workshops that are actually using other LMS systems, but it's a free community, right? So it doesn't matter. If we had and we're going to have this members only community, so this will be either a private or a secret one for pro or premium members. Yeah, we're going to vet them more heavily than that, because we want to make sure that they're active, paid for members before we give them some extra stuff, right? So don't be too precious over the public community as to who's in or who's not. You'll probably get your competitors in. Look, if they want to come in, they'll just set up a new Facebook profile under a different name with nothing on it, age it, and then come in anyway. So getting stressed about those things isn't worth your time. Focus on its purpose. And its purpose is to get people to know you, your products, your services, how you help people, get to know you as an individual or as a company, and to be participating within your community to maybe look at taking it to the next stage. So increasing Google indexing speed. So create internal links between posts. We've talked about that. Linking from a blog post to a community, that will really be useful. Share posts on social media. So take a discussion link from your community and put that on. We're having a really great discussion over here. Here's a link to the post that's going on. Excuse me. And that would be really good if you wanted to come and join in. Update your content regularly, so fresh content we know gets indexed faster. So if you've got a thriving community, it's not going to be a problem. In the Zenler community, we've got loads of posts coming in every single day. It is by no means tumbleweed in our community. You don't want tumbleweed. And then when you are posting in your community, use descriptive titles, so clear topics to help people understand what it is you're talking about so they can easily get involved. So we can measure community success. So you can look at some of the things and these are loosely based, right? Don't get obsessed with these. I know what people are like. They sort of suddenly start to fixate and overly complicate everything that we're doing, but just keep an eye on some of this stuff. And just you'll start to get into the rhythm of how you know your community starts to behave. When you do something, there's a surge in new members, or you do something and there's lots of members gone from your free into your paid and they've come out of your free community or whatever it is. So I'm just understanding the flow a little bit will help you. So post per week, you can keep an eye on. Comments per post, see if there's some types of posts that get more interaction than others. And then look at the amount of active members, and you'll start to recognize names quite quickly. Even in a community with nearly 10,000 people, there's a lot of people that post regularly in here, and we could probably name the majority of them between us because we're in there and we see it. We don't need to write it down. We just know because their names become familiar. We're in there every day, remember? So remember our 10, 15 minutes a day. We're in there every day. So, and to begin with, you'll probably be in there more. So look at new member rates. So how many new people are coming in? How many people are coming back and commenting or posting stuff up? And then how long are people actually spending on your community? How long are they actually there? Are they commenting on 5 posts, or do they come in, comment, and then they leave? Traffic to sales pages. So is this, really, are they coming into a community and the community posts that you've done links through to a sales page? Are they following a flow through there? Does that lead to a conversion rate? And is there any attributed revenue that you can put to your community as a whole? Anything. So you might want to look at creating specific links that you can just put into your community. So if people are coming through that, then you can actually go, right, my community has generated this. So troubleshooting no engagement. If like engagement slows, which it might do to begin with, just try different types of content and ask different questions. Look at the people that are contributing and highlight those, or personally invite specific discussions. You can send a DM as an admin. If you've got members in there that you know are normally quite chatty in person, or maybe they're a bit nervous about participating, send them a DM. Look, I thought of a really good, thread that you could start within the community. Here's an idea. What do you think? Based on how I know you, that type of thing. Just helps stoke it a little bit more than just you. But we can try and mix it up a little bit. If what you're doing isn't working, something needs to change. And sometimes it's the way that you phrase something, the things that you ask of people, or the way that you've sort of put in your content in there just needs a little bit of an adjustment. So we've got, of course, the Zenler tools. So the Zenler community area, which is brilliant. So we've got notifications, so you can keep members notified and informed of activity. There's two ways we could do this as an admin. Put a post up, we can send them an email, or they'll get notifications in the app or on the desktop. So that's really good. And the email thing, keep it for the important stuff. Don't do it every post because it'll probably get on people's nerves. It's a bit like if we did the everyone tag, and we could do it on every post we put up. People get fed up now if we do it, and it's really important. So and that's with nearly 10,000 people in. So if you had 50 members in and you was posting twice a day and you was emailing them all of the time, you'd get a very empty community very quickly. So encourage reactions, a like or a love or a GIF or whatever within the Zenler communities is dead easy. Tell people that's what you want from them. Encourage people to do it. Maybe do a training video. Have you done this? Why would you want to do that? This is part of the engagement we're looking for within our really great community. So topics, organise content for navigation, help members find relevant discussions. And there's a search feature within the Zenler community as well. So integrating with your courses. So the community will support and enhance your course materials. We talked about how we can take snippets of a course and carry the discussion on further than just the discussions within a lesson itself, taking them into a fully fledged community that's maybe looking at that particular thing. Course materials can point to relevant discussions. So think about how you can do this with your current courses. Is there things that people could find really useful if you're having discussions in your community and you go, you know what, I did a course that's on that topic, and in this particular lesson we sort of brushed on that but didn't go in. Don't want you to really rewrite the whole lesson. I'll just reference them over here. So take that link and send them over to your community, and then your community it becomes a deep integration within what you're doing. And I talked about this on day one of this, that the community aspect for a course creator now is absolutely critical. People are looking far more than just the how. They want to be able to talk about it. They want to share. They want to have that community of learning, leveling up, experience, and all of that. So it can be something that becomes a really, really, really good add-on benefit to not only your course but also for the people coming into it. So it enhances everything you're doing in your course and just makes it that much better. So converting community members to students. So this isn't a particularly different formula. So provide consistent value. So demonstrate your expertise without selling. You don't need to sell anything. Showcase your course benefits. So we've talked about doing snippets. That's how you would do that. You can sort of tell people, oh, we cover this in way more depth, in this particular course here. I've got a discount code or whatever. That type of thing works really well, especially if it's a genuine ask. So create natural bridges. So reference courses and the solutions that you have within your course if people are asking about it in your community. But only do it when it's right and it naturally fits. Don't be in there constantly, go to this course and every conversation. You don't want to do that. But if you're having a long conversation with 2 or 3 people and they're all around one subject and you've covered that in massive depth in a course, then it would be natural to say, look, a lot of what you're asking is really covered here. And you might find this really, really useful based on the conversation we're having right now. You might find this will just get you past this point fast, um, by just going through that. Here's a link, and if you want to, I'll give you a 50% discount off if you use this code, but it's only going to be for a little while. Please don't share it around. Um, that's great. If you are putting coupon links into your public communities, definitely put an expiration or usage limit on it, because you might suddenly find that you're getting lots of people coming in when you only wanted a few in at a discount. So, and they might come in 6 months or a years. People go through stuff a lot. They like to go back through stuff, and they might find that, and suddenly you sold it and you didn't realize. And that leads on to the community only promotions. So this is about rewarding people with those special offers, those coupon links, those codes, putting maybe together a bundle you've never done before anywhere else, putting it in that. Of course, it'll get indexed as well, right? It could be something that you run periodically, for a week, once a quarter, something like that. I'm only running this for the first 20 people, right? And genuinely have it set for 20 people. And that can work really well. So this helps you build through your community a content library over time. So it just, and that's what we're looking for, that upwards level of interaction and engagement through our communities. And the more people we get in, the more we're going to get that content coming through. Now, when it's public community, it's probably more so important than any other type of community where we need to remain consistent in the way that we operate. And that means visual consistency, our voice is in our business voice, as in how do we talk to people, what words do we use, and all of that. Who we are is consistent. Some people I've seen where publicly they're one thing, you go behind the door and a little bit more relaxed. So maybe they'll drop an F-bomb here and there and all of that, and they wouldn't do publicly. But in a public community, it's really important that we do keep that consistency going, and that means the message is aligned. So it's cohesive branding. Now you might think, oh, I don't have a brand, I'm not big enough. We all have a brand, whether we like to admit it or not, because the brand starts, especially as a course creator, with you. How you talk, how you approach things, what your ethics are in life, and all of that starts to become your brand. It's not just the colors that you use on something, or the font that you use. It's about that consistency of message going through. And yes, if you've got a fully fledged out brand where you go, right, these are my colors, that's my logo, and all of that, then brilliant. Now, especially on a public community, growing your team as you go, is really helpful. So when you start off doing everything yourself, right? And that's okay when it's a little bit going on. But as you go through, and I'm not going to go through all of these, you know, you want to hope at some point you either end up with a content moderator or a community manager. And we've already said that within Zenler, we're going to be looking at getting tiers of people involved. At the moment, it's only admin or member, but Rakesh has already mentioned he's putting tiers in for people. So there'll be other levels of admin or support or whatever they decide to call it. But it's good to just think about it now, as in, if this really takes off and I get lots of people in, how am I going to progress and manage this when you can't be there all the time? So you need to think about people that can get involved with you. So you do get different types of people come into your community. Believe me, we've got it in the Zenler community, and you get experts coming. So it's good to acknowledge that they've got expertise. We've got other people that know a lot about courses, course management, learning management systems. They've been around the block a long time. It's not just David and I. There's a lot of people that have done all of that. You have potential clients, so you've got to ensure that you provide value, and the bridges between the free community area that they're in, the public community, and other areas that might be paid. So that might be a paid community, a paid course, or whatever it could be. You've got content creators, so you want to encourage sharing and highlight their work. So these are really good people because they'll come in and they'll start conversations. And then you've got the lurkers, the observers. So, you know, you want to create low barrier participation options for those that are not really engaging that much. Just click a like. The good thing about a Zenler community is if they like one of your posts or they get involved in your community, they're not going to be followed around Facebook like Facebook does with loads of ads because they've expressed one like on something randomly. They won't have that. They've got a very nice, secure, unintrusive experience in the Zenler platform. It's very focused on what they're there for. So therefore, people that are really reluctant to get involved have less reason to not get involved. They've got more reason to get involved. Let's not put a double negative in. They've got more reason to get involved because all of these other things don't exist. And even in a public community, it's not going to hound around the internet. So we can recognize these types of members and we can encourage them for the right reasons. So sometimes you've got seasonal content planning that needs to happen within your community, especially in a public community, because it's more relevant because of the search aspect. So you need to think about getting this in. So if you've got certain stuff that happens during January and March, so say for instance, you teach people how to look after a garden, for example. I mentioned that because we've got someone that does that. There'll be certain planting times for certain things and all of that. So if you want that to be found, you need to be posting it in just a few weeks before that happens. So therefore, you can make sure that you're getting found at the right time when people are really searching. So these ideas can be really powerful. So just to remind you, private versus public. So public's Google searchable. There's no barriers to coming in. Wider reach potential. You can use it as a lead generation tool, but there's less exclusivity. Whereas with your private and your secret communities, there is a really exclusive filter. A lot of the time, it's members only content, more open discussions, maybe. Certainly because they feel safer in there. It's locked. Higher perceived value, most definitely, but there are no SEO benefits to a private or a secret community. So common community pitfalls. So a lot of this, inconsistent posting. So momentum dies without regular content. We know that, which is why we talked about doing the 3 posts, maybe a week, maybe 1 a month. However, you're going to sort out your content plan. Over promotion, too many sales pitches drive members away. When do you ever see Zenler coming in saying, come and buy Zenler? I think we've done it in total of maybe 4 times in the time I've been here. And that's when we've been doing a price hike. So we'll do it between a period of time saying, right, this is actually going up, so it's for your benefit, and that's it. So if you're thinking about it, now's the time to jump before it goes up, and that's it. But we're certainly by no means coming in here every week going, come and buy Zen now. All you free people, come and get this, come and get. We just don't do that. We don't need to. As a course creator, of course, you want to do promotions in there. You do them as a bonus or whatever, but just don't overdo it. If you ignore questions coming in, people will just stop asking questions. It's as simple as that. And then if you just constantly got random stuff going in there, then it will just confuse people. So if your if your community is about fitness and all they're ever talking about is dog training in there because there's a couple of dog trainers they're trying to get fit and that's what they're talking about. And then you start talking about it because you've got a dog. People are going to go, I don't know why I'm here. And that's not going to help. So your key takeaways, public communities get found on Google. Each post becomes a searchable entry point, right? Really important. Engagement creates more content. So member interactions add SEO value. Consistency beats perfection. We talk about this all of the time. Regular quality posts build momentum. That's what we want. And then value first, promotion second. So always be looking at the value that you can deliver. So your next steps. So this is, if you like, your task, whatever you want to call it. You need to really define the purpose of your community. What will your community do? Why does your community exist? I asked you all this the other day, last week. There was a few wishy-washy replies that came back. You've had a week to think about it. This should be rolling off your tongue by now. My community is here because my community will help so and so do so and so. My community will support this one, get to that point, whatever it is. Draft 5 posts. So these are your first ones. So 7 posts altogether because you need your rules, your welcome, and 5 posts. Go and set your community up in Zenler. I've shown you how to do it. It's easy peasy. So if you're doing a public community, go and set it up and then tell us you've done it in our community on the tutorial site. And then you can launch it if you wish at that point, or you can hold off on the launch, but definitely get it set up. So what will your community help with? Drafts, I'm going to say 7. So rules, welcome, and 5 posts. And go and set up your community. Setting up your community takes less than 5 minutes. Even if you add in the header and the logo, let's say 15 minutes maximum, right? Easy. Okay, just get it done. If it ain't perfect, it doesn't matter. You can go back and you can edit it all and change it later. Right, but get it done. You'll feel much better for doing it. And that's it, ladies and gentlemen. That's the end of today's workshop. So hopefully you found that helpful. I've not checked any of the chat. I see loads of people that have come in onto Zoom. David, are you there?
Hi, Kevin. Yeah, we haven't had that many questions actually, which always warrants a good thing because it means you've covered it. But we've got one that is coming up from Carol, and we've had this from Ellie as well on the group saying about they don't like the fact that we're streaming into Facebook and then we invite people into the Zoom session. So, do you want to explain why we're doing this?
Right. Okay.
One more time.
I'll put this as succinctly and as politely as I possibly can. So obviously Zenler is a commercial organisation. It's a software platform, and 99% of, well, 100% of all the educational content, the workshops, and all of that are paid for by Zenler. So you lot never get charged for any of this, right? And we've done this for 5 years, David and I. I think it's 5 or is it 6? I can't remember. 5 or 6 years. Okay, that's hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of hours of content. And where it's absolutely possible, we try and listen to everybody that's in the community. However, we have to have a very fine balancing act between what's good for Zenler the business and what's good for the community, right? And the two don't always quite meet in the middle. So for quite a time, we did very closed workshops. I used to run them in live classes. David ran them in live classes. They weren't on Facebook at all. They were hidden behind a wall and they were just put all out of the way, right? And it was great for the people that were in there, but nobody outside of that bringing in period knew that they existed. So that was a problem. So we had a bit of a brainstorm. We said, right, okay, what we'll start doing, and we only started this last year, was we'll start streaming it into Facebook, and people can come onto Zoom and all of that, and it will be great. So we started doing that, and what we found was on the Facebook lives, we got 0 engagement and lots of people coming in talking on Zoom, which was great. Okay. So we said, well, let's experiment with this and see, well, if we just let them watch the training, which you can't interact with that much anyway during the actual training on Facebook, and then ask them to come into Zoom, how does that work for everybody? Well, what's happened is we go from 1 or 2 comments if everyone on Zoom at the beginning to 100+ comments on Facebook when we say come to Facebook and then come to Zoom. Now, what that's done is that's allowed that particular live to be noticed and the reach on it go much, much further. So more people are finding the workshop and joining than they were before. So it's actually really, really good for the community to get you all to come into Facebook first. And then on the important bit, we're still saying, look, come on the Q&A bit, but nobody on Facebook can see all of your comments here. Right, so you're adding really valuable stuff, but nobody can see it. Whereas on Facebook, everybody can see it. So it's helped a lot more people. We've got a bigger uptake of people coming in since we started session one than we did when we only ran it on a Zoom class, which was after we went live. When it was only on Zoom, we got maybe 2 or 3 or 4 people with a whole workshop. Now, because we're running it on Facebook Live, we're getting the interaction on the workshop bit itself, and you're all helping doing that, which is amazing. We're getting loads of people now joining on session one, after session two, after session three, because they're seeing it and they're seeing all of you lot getting involved, which is great. So commercially, the decision is, what's our objective here? Our objective is to deliver educational value to as many Zenler users as possible. The next question was, what's the best way to do this? And the best way to deliver to as many people as possible throughout the 12 sessions is to get everyone on Facebook first, and then an hour or so in, once we've had loads of interaction, we'll invite you into Zoom. And that's the decision that's been made for now. So hopefully you all understand why we do that. Does that?
Yeah, and I also want to bring up another point here as well, that if we never let you into these Zoom sessions, you wouldn't know any different. It's just because of before you were coming straight in and it was closed wall, you couldn't see it. But I tell you guys to have a look in the Facebook group. Look at how we've been doing this, and look at the engagement of the posts of the ones that we didn't actually just have people on there and then let you in later. Have a look at the last two. You'll see like 100 on Rakesh's one that was done. On this one, I think there's 30, though you didn't talk a lot on there. But if you were kept in there, you'd be talking all the time and it mounts up. And this was a strategy, and you should take this as some advice. You don't have to go with what you originally do if you find or you work out that something is working better for you. So from a planning, and this is all about communities, from a planning point of view, this is really good. And we had a question saying, well, if you're talking about, this is from Carol, you're talking about running it in a community and keeping it in a community. Well, Zoom isn't a community. Our Facebook group is. And the reason that we don't do it straight into our Zenler communities at the moment is for one big reason. We don't stream into that at the moment. When we do, we will. Okay. So that's the big reason. So hopefully we've mentioned this a few times, but we understand new people come through, don't understand. I think Jackie asked last time, Jackie Footman, she's not here today. Ellie's asked, and of course, Carol. Now, Carol, I know that you're not on the Facebook group for your own choices, and it is your own choice not to be there. And you can catch up on the replay and, of course, write your questions down. And then when the link goes out, and Kevin suggested this as well, to actually put the link going out 1 hour, sort of an hour in to the session, so you guys can jump in. We're trying to ride that balance of, I was like, keep everybody in the Facebook group and then we'll just drop a link in there and they can come in there. But Kevin was like, no, what we need to do is we need to also send it out so those people can see it. So that's what we do. So we plan things as we're going through. So when we teach you this stuff, we do this because it's from first-hand experience. We're proving points to you. So hopefully what Kevin mentioned there makes perfect sense. I know Ellie says there she appreciates why we're doing this now, which is really good. Thank you.
Listen, we're all learning and evolving, right? And it doesn't matter how big your community, how long you've been doing it, you've got to try new things, right? What I do know for a fact is if you stick to what you always have stuck to, you stay where you always were. Okay? And you need to evolve, and your community will evolve as hopefully you will evolve. If you stay as you are on day one in your community when it's day 1000, then you've got a problem. Right? You need to evolve with it, because then your community will evolve. It's that simple. And I think that's sort of the point that we're making here, is that we're trying something a bit different. We're trying to get it so there's that happy balance. I've already said to you over the last few weeks, we're sort of in a transition period as a business where we've got everyone in Facebook. You've all been here for years and years, right? That's been predominantly the community. Well, now we have our own community. And somebody said when we first launched it, well, why are we not all in there? Well, you're not all in there because we have to manage nearly 10,000 accounts here, right? We can't just say, right, today we've launched, tomorrow everyone's in, and on Wednesday we're shutting the whole thing down. That would be ridiculous, right? We have to stage this thing over time. And the first step was to get people in our first workshop to come into that community, right? Which you have all been invited to. So there's like 500 odd people I think we've invited to it, something like that, to come in and start to use it, because we've also got to understand, in a working environment with a large number of people, how does that community work? We know how Facebook works, right? And yes, we know all of the features within Zenler, but having a working environment in a community is different to having it in theory. So if we suddenly throw 10,000 people in our own community area, could it take it? Yes. Will it work? There'll be lots of, how does this work? How does that work? I can't find this. I can't find that. Where's that gone? Why can't we have it like that again? Why are you not doing that? Why is this different? And we'll get a lot of that. And imagine that times 10,000, right? That's quite hard to manage. And us as the admins, we've got to get used to actually how we operate in this system for what we want as a business from it, right? So there's lots of, it's not just picking people up and moving them. So it will take a time. It may take a year even to transition over properly. As new features come in, but like David said, I'm banging the drum to get the live streaming in there. Rakesh has said it's possible. He's just got to get onto development, as they're working on other stuff at the moment, but to make that happen. But I think it's a reasonably high priority. Because we do it so much. We are on here live so much. We need to do it. Now, we've got to work out, how's that going to be? Is it going to be through Zoom or something different? Or I don't know. But, it's a big thing holding us back right now to push it too hard, because we like to go live in the community, and not having that featured directly in it adds on extra barriers. It's not impossible to do it, as David's going to show you in session 11, but it just takes that lot of extra time to do it. So unless it's really, really important, we're not going to be doing it that frequently. But when we've got live sessions or office hours every week, we've got Day with Zenler every month, we've got the live support desk every week, and if they're hard to set up, not impossible but difficult, but that takes a bit of the joy out of doing it, right? So we've got to plan it and stage it right.
Yeah, I don't think we are. You guys all happy with that? I think Kevin really covered all that really thoroughly. Carol, yeah, the replay will be in the replay page. Goes out 4 hours. I think you're registered anyway, but it always still goes on to YouTube. You're going to see these videos appearing on YouTube. They're being indexed and stuff while they're on there, so it will go on the replay page, as it is all of it, so you can see it all. Because I know Carol's not on Facebook, but she jumped into the live part and then of course misses the main presentation, so she has to catch up. I do suggest that you watch the one before. You can always ask me on Wednesday any questions. Kevin will be there anyway, so you can ask him questions relating to this one if you wanted to as well.
Right. Any more for any more? Do we have any particular questions on public communities? I think I covered most of it. Hopefully there's people here that are going to be doing a public community, because I think the benefits of it are huge. And if you get it going right from the beginning, then I think you're going to understand just the actual setting the community bit up itself, as you saw in that video, is so easy. It's like literally 2 or 3 minutes. So that shouldn't stop you back. It's just getting this planning bit done, getting that little strategy together and knowing how you're going to do it, and then working out I'll put a number on it for you. Just find 3 people that you want to bring in as your first people into your community that you can invite in. They might not even be students. It might just be someone that wants to support you and help you out. So,
What's the homework for this week, Kevin? You mentioned it, didn't you?
I did mention it. The homework for this week is, hang on, let me just find it again. So defining the purpose for the public community. Why do people want to join the public community? That's the question you've got to answer. Okay, so that's point one. Point two, draft 7 posts. So that is your rules and your welcome post. So you might not use the welcome post immediately, but have it ready anyway. And then 5 posts that you've got ready that can put in. So when people come in, there's something in there already. So it's not an empty blank piece of paper that they're walking in on. Okay. And then, of course, build out your public community on the Zenler platform is the third point.
Are you going to put those? Are you going to put that as a post in the Zenler community?
I will.
Super. Got a question from Geraldine. Question is the education teaming considering a public community challenge to help with launching and creating a launch strategy? Guess we are now, aren't we? That's how we're challenging you every session, Geraldine.
I don't think we've got one specifically planned for that.
Maybe you should do that, Kevin.
Yeah, maybe that's something that we can do. I'm not quite sure how that would work right now, but launching and create. See, we've gone through the mechanics of it in this workshop, and we'll go through more of it. So the actual creating it and all of that, I don't think we'd need to go through again. We don't need to double down on that, do we really? But the actual motivation to getting it done and launched and activity in it. Perhaps what we could do is perhaps we could set up another community on the tutorial site where those of you that are creating public communities can publicize them in there and help each other out. So you could potentially join each other's communities to help get them going, especially if there's some synergy between you. That would work quite well. Perhaps rather than an official challenge, perhaps we can do it via a community. How does that sound? Yeah,
That sounds good to
I know
me.
what you mean, but I think, as I say, the mechanics of it are quite easy. But I think I'll speak to David afterwards, but I think actually just having a separate community for public ones on the tutorial site would be more beneficial. And then people can go off, set them up, and then we can put everything in there. What do you reckon?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
I think very good.
because we've got a lot of this year's workshops already outlined. I mean, we do have space for extra ones, but the majority of them, and I don't know. Ultimately, Rakesh has to sign it off anyway. So
Yeah, no, I think for this it's a really good thing. Like Rakesh is really behind people where everyone's succeeding with creating their communities and providing us also with case studies of you guys and how you're doing and also what's coming back from your users, what you want to see. So that feedback is priceless. So that kind of workshop, little mini workshop, Kevin could slot in somewhere. I think you'll definitely do that, Kevin, because it's a really good one for our users.
yeah. So if you could bear with us until the end of this workshop, I will have a definitive answer for you on the Q&A live session number 12. Okay. And then we'll definitely do something. That's for sure. It's just exactly what.
Yeah, Birdie's got a question here, Kevin.
Yeah.
It's I am making a robust quiz. Is it best to add participants to a public community?
Depends what the purpose of the quiz is. What's the outcome of the quiz?
Is this a members? Are these going to Birdie? Are these members that you're going to be tapping into all the time, where you need a community? It's like we mentioned, like you don't want to just have a community for the sake of communities, otherwise it becomes unmanageable. So you need to make sure you might want to reach out to existing users and say, look, take this quiz and make that more of an interactive thing for them. I think Kevin already covered that on how to sort of get engaging posts, and that could be one of them, as well as taking surveys for data as well is also good.
Yeah, the great thing about a community, Birdie, is that you can really nurture people through it. What often people do is they often as much as I said don't oversell in a community, sometimes people completely forget to say they have anything else. So you sort of got to strike that balance. And, if they've come through a quiz and it might only be, I don't know, if it's 5 questions, is that enough for them to take the next logical step with you, as in to buy a course? Or do you think, and this is probably going to answer your own question, or do you think they need a little bit more interaction with you? If you think that they need a bit more interaction with you, then take them into a community, right? If you think no, most people that complete the quiz will buy, then leave it as that is the way that they go through. That's really understanding your people and knowing what the conversion rate will be. But then again, if you've got a really long quiz, how many people actually complete it? So what you could do is you could take them through a community and then share the quiz with them and do it that way. So add them to the community first rather than get them in straight into the quiz. And then, so come into the public community, here's the link to the quiz, go and do that. And then they can decide, well, they're already in the community, so that's fine. And then you can take them to the next bit of what the quiz is, which
Yeah.
might be a call or something like that. I don't know. And then you
Yeah,
can always
Birdie's
use
written
the
the second
community
part here,
to,
Kevin, for you, which
sorry,
is, but I'm thinking the SEO of public could encourage more to take it or buy it.
is the quiz paid for then?
Well, she hasn't said.
No.
So let's assume that it could be bought or it could be a free one. I mean, it could, but I think, when it's really funny, I'm sure Kevin's going to chime in here as well. It's like when you're promoting something, you don't promote just on one linear level. You should be promoting on lots of levels. One, your social medias, like Instagram, TikTok, any of this stuff, your video, YouTube channel, inside blogs, maybe inside pages of the site, and community is part of that. But it's not one linear thing. You don't choose one path to market. You can choose a few different paths to markets. Remember, we were saying about with marketing, it's all about the spider's web. So the center is where you want to get people. And with as many threads coming into it, the more chance you've got of hooking those people. So I know, Birdie, that you're looking, because you've seen now from Kevin saying SEO, it can be SEO your posts, but blogs are still up there. You've got a post inside community. It's never going to do as well in the search engine results as a fully fledged blog. And I'm sure Kevin would agree with that 100%.
Well, I already covered that with the micro blogging.
Yeah.
So where it used to be like 50, 100 words. It never really worked. That's why people don't do it anymore. Right. But that would be good for a post in a community. Right. But you're never going to put 1,000-word post in a community. It's ridiculous. Right?
Yeah.
You would write a few lines and do a blog post on it. Right. You've got to use the right tool for the right job.
Yeah, that's it. And this is just one side of it. This is draw engagement. I think it's good that the SEO is inside the public communities, but I don't think that it should be the be all end all. It's like a community is what it is. It's a community. You're going to build people up. You're going to grow that community. You're going to talk about it. As Kevin already said, especially with the community, the way you naturally write, and that's why it's going to be so interesting, because people are going to be writing naturally as posts inside your community, and they'll have natural SEO listings, which will be really interesting. When you track it, you'll be able to track what's going through your community or what's going through your blogs and see what's doing better. And that can drive the content that you create later on based on that. But it isn't linear. Like the whole of marketing isn't not linear. It's not just like one path. I do this, and then they go here. You're talking about an end goal and routes coming into it. So try not to get too locked in by keywords that are used like SEO in communities and think that's the only way you can do it.
Yeah. And this isn't new in marketing. This has been around for years, since marketing ever became a thing, right? It's a bit like if you think about, you want to go and buy a new car, right? And you've got a model in mind. Everywhere you start to go, you start to see that model. Yet beforehand, you never saw it anywhere, right? because subconsciously your brain is taking in all of these messages all of the time, but you're starting to focus on one particular thing because you saw a billboard with it, or you saw it on the TV, or you saw it in a magazine, or you saw it on a Facebook ad, or whatever. Suddenly, everywhere you look is that one thing, right? That's because they've got it in so many different places and it's just around you that therefore it feels natural because you're now starting to focus on that. And the community is the same sort of thing. It's never going to replace a sales page. It's never going to replace a blog post, right? It's an addition to, it's extra to, but it's a different format. It's much more relaxed. It's much easier. It's much more conversational, right? And that's how you need to approach it like that. This isn't a this or that situation. You still got to continue with the other stuff. And I know people get reluctant with bigger types of content, like building a landing page or putting a decent blog post together, because it takes time and effort. But it doesn't take a lot of time to put together a 50-word update, right? Or a 100-word update into a community. It doesn't take a lot of time to reply to someone that's commented on it, right? And actually, if you're looking for ideas because you've been in your industry for a long time and you're starting to run dry of ideas, your community could be an absolute goldmine source to get your creativity flowing for what you're doing next, where you're going next. Your community will tell you just through conversation. If you ask them, if you say, send me an email with what course you'd like me to do next, I guarantee you get crickets. Right? If you sat there talking about in a community, talking about different things that they've done, I bet you someone will come up. Wouldn't it be really good if we had a course on this? Or would it be really good? I really would need something to do that or cover this or do this. They do it naturally because it's conversational. It's not official.
Yeah, 100%.
So there we go. Right. I think are we ready to wrap up now? I think so.
All
Right,
good.
everyone. Thank you for today. The replay will be up here by tomorrow, so UK time. So look out for that. Most of you, hopefully, definitely those of you that are in Zoom with us, will have the replay page link. So you'll see now they're starting to be populated with all bits and pieces in there. I will add in your tasks to do for this session into the community in the tutorial site. So go and have a look there. We're back on Wednesday at 2 p.m. BST, same time, same format. David's leading this one. He's going to be looking at private groups. So very, very different to public groups that we've covered today. So private groups is what we're going to be looking at on Wednesday. So if you can make that, that will be amazing. So if that's on your radar to do, then this is going to be another really, really good one for you to take in and to listen to and see if you can work out how that will be incorporated into your Zenler business. So, but for now, thank you, everyone. It's been an absolute blast. David, thanks for being on with us and looking after everyone. Have a great day, everyone, and we will see you Wednesday, if not before. Thanks, everyone. See you later.